I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchange something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.
And we're back. Man, I have been waiting to talk to you all. It's been a very, very impressive, hectic, all over the place kind of week. Basically, weekend, everything since the last time we were on. But man, I must say it feels good to be sitting back here talking to the family. Man, when I say we have an individual today, I'm talking about I probably needed to be talking to this young lady all week long with the ups and downs, but I'm glad she's here, because she might give us some tips. Not might, she's gonna give us some tips, some things that we can use. She's gonna drop nuggets, bars, fire, whatever you want to call it, because she is that person. When I say I don't even know how she juggles her day, I'm just glad she had time to come on and speak with us and just tell the world who she is. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I'm not even gonna try to break down who she is, because I'm not gonna do that disservice to her. So I have to bring you the one, the only, Miss Amber Freeman.
Hello. Hello.
How are you doing?
I am doing pretty well. How about you?
It's been one of those days, but hey, we're here.
We are here.
Now, I wasn't even gonna try to do it because I didn't want to throw anything off. But forget that. Hold on. Before we even jump into that, how was your day?
My day has been a little bit of all over the place. I have been busy all day. I have been juggling three jobs, I would say. Being a mom, running my practice, still having my 9 to 5. So I've done a little bit of everything today. So busy is an understatement.
Now, you just said being a mom, juggling the 9 to 5, running the practice. Before we even go any further, can you tell the world, tell us all, who is Miss Amber Freeman?
Well, Amber Freeman, who am I? So first and foremost, I would say the most important aspect of who I am is that I am a mom. I'm a single mom to an amazing 9-year-old son. So that is the biggest, most important asset that I have ever been given, and the greatest blessing ever is being a mom. I am also a therapist. I have my own private practice that I launched back in October. So I have not been in practice, not a year yet, working on my first full year in practice. I'm also an activist and advocate for my community. So I speak out about issues affecting minorities, things that we as Black people deal with on a daily basis. So, and all of those things I just mentioned, I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about being a mom, about mental health, and about being an activist for my community.
Okay, you just okay. We got to dive into this because man, my mind just exploded. That's not just a little. That's not even a lot. I don't even. Let's back up. Let's back up first. How do you even get into what started this journey for you? Like, do you remember when it started that says I want to be into help people with mental health, or I want to start helping in my community? Like, when was that transition? Was it high school, college? Where did all this start for you?
Uh, well, thinking back, honestly, I can say that even in middle school, I was the type of person that spoke my mind. So now, let me say, I'm from one of those very small, what some people would probably say sundown towns. So I'm from the country. It's just really divisive here. It's a lot of racism here, especially within the school system. Like it's always been bad here. So even in middle school, I was the type that if I saw something that wasn't right, a Black person being mistreated, I spoke my mind. So I've always been very vocal. However, I would say the mental health journey that didn't come along until college. I actually wanted to be an anesthesiologist from the time that I was like 11 up until I went to college. I wanted to be a doctor. And so what changed that is that when I went to college and just started taking like different electives to fulfill my requirements, started taking some psychology courses, and I was like, okay, I like this. So I decided to major in it, and here I am. I just stuck with it.
Now, I have to ask because everybody knows we come on this show, we bring different business owners, people from all different walks of life. And there's somebody out there that's going to be seeing this and they're going to be on that same similar journey as you. So I have to ask, when you say since like 11 wanted to be an anesthesiologist, what started that? Because we got to figure out where that went and then what clicked and said, besides the electives and just knowing you wanted to be a doctor, why anesthesiologist? Because most people just say, I want to be a doctor and call it quits, but you narrowed it all the way down to that.
Yeah.
How was that?
To be honest with you, uh, I knew of an anesthesiologist at that time when I was 11 years old. I'll never forget. I don't know his name or anything, but my brother was playing baseball, and his coach was an anesthesiologist. And so I remember like he would have like parties and stuff for the baseball team sometimes. And I just remember like seeing how he lived, and I saw his house and everything. And I was like, I'm going to be an anesthesiologist. And so from the time that I was like I said, 11, and then throughout high school, I just started looking up information about the salary. I was also a person, like I was a nerd in school. So I liked to read. I liked math. I liked science. I liked all subjects. So I was like, yeah, I want to go to school to be a doctor, but I knew I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. I guess just because of how, when I found out like how much money they made, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Wow. I like how you put that because when you were mentioning about middle school, about like you always spoke your mind, and there's that saying, and I want everybody to catch it because Amber basically said it. You see something, you say something. But in her case, she sees something, say something, do something. So not only did she see certain things, and I say this because so many people in our community, depending on your community, some of us only see the one things. Like I was growing up, you saw the rapper, the athlete, and in the middle somewhere, you might have saw the drug dealer, and it was like you pick which one. And so your community, you said you saw the anesthesiologist, but it also made you focus in on wanting to help the community. Either way you look at it, you were driven since 11 to kind of want to help others, because anesthesiologists, they're not out there to hurt you. They're here to help you.
Right.
So with that being said, because I'm sorry, you threw it out there because you said when you were 11, and I heard you put the mom part in there and how much you valued that. Can you tell us, because somebody had to guide that along from 11 to help you even get to college to chase that dream. As a mom, how old is your kid, and what are you doing to help kind of do the same driving factor that was done for you?
Well, he is 9 years old. He'll be going into the fourth grade in August. And so I'm supportive of him no matter what he wants to do. So like right now, actually since he was probably about 2 years old is when he first fell in love with sharks. He will sit and watch a documentary on National Geographic since he was 2 years old. I've never seen a kid at 2 years old watch documentaries like that. And so he has it made up in his mind right now that he wants to be an anesthesiologist. I mean, a marine biologist. So I support him in any way that I can. Like I have purchased him a subscription to Nat Geo magazines. Like I watch documentaries with him. Like I encourage him. I'm his biggest cheerleader. I also like really push education. And so like I sat down with him, like we're gonna get that homework done. I'm just always like on top of it as far as like letting him know now, like even though he says he doesn't like school like most 9-year-old little boys,
Yep.
but I let him know like if you want to be a marine biologist, like you have to get through fourth grade, fifth grade, all the way through college. So I'm telling him now, like you gotta set goals, you gotta make a plan, and you gotta make it happen.
Now, I think this is probably a first for the show, because I tell everybody all the time, education, education. I'm big on education, and that doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to follow education lines. But this is the first time that we've had a parent that whose child is on that path, and it's like not learning how to learn to do this particular craft, that they actually have to go through the school route to get the education they need. Like a lawyer, a doctor, marine biologist, like even anesthesiologist. But as a marine biologist, and you're putting all this in, I want everybody to catch this, because I'm big on, in order for you to live in your purpose and chase your goals and dreams, you have to have a support system. And for most of us, that starts at home. And you're doing the same thing with your son. And you said you're big on mental health. How does that work? Because you said it doesn't like going to school like most 9-year-olds. How do you, because there's parents out there wanting to know this. I know I need help with it just like everybody else. How do you help that mental health with a 9-year-old, especially when they're your kid and they're looking like, oh, mom, I don't want to do it. How do you transfer from a mom to, I have to be your mental health coach, help you get marine biologists?
Yeah. Well, for example, I would say like, so we just finished third grade, and so the school that he attends, third grade is really intense. There were, especially the first half of the year before Christmas break, we were having 2, sometimes 3 hours worth of homework almost every night. In third grade, they're already switching classes, so he would have 3 teachers, and each teacher would have 2 tests for Friday. So he would have like 6 tests on Fridays. So we would have to study all week for those tests. So it was really intense this year, and he got exhausted doing it. I mean, he did. I got exhausted sitting down with him every night. So I'll admit, like one thing that I do, if he's just not feeling his optimal self and he's having a difficult morning, and he needs so if he needs to stay home one day just because he's feeling anxious or just not his best self, he is allowed to stay at home. Um, and I'm big on him expressing how he feels as well. I've had teachers and just different people that he's worked with in the school talk about like how articulate he is about things that are on his mind and how he feels. But that's because I encourage him to speak what he feels at home. Like, don't hold it in. Let me know. Are you having a good day? Are you having a bad day? Are you angry, sad, anxious? What do you feel? And we can talk about it.
So I want everybody to catch what she said, because we say it as adults, and we've all said it when you look at kids, like, what you so tired about? What you so, because you're thinking, oh, they're just kids because of how we were raised. But she's saying that even kids have to have that mental break. Even kids have to be able to express their emotions and feelings. They have to have an outlet. And speaking of outlet, since you have that, because man, I don't see how he does it. I commend him. I commend you. Whew, that's a lot of work. You go to school for 8 hours and then got to do 3 hours of homework, fit in, eating and sleeping. Like, what does he do to like that downtime like that? All right, no more school. I need to have fun. I still need to be a 9-year-old kid. What does he do? What does that look like?
So he's 9, so he loves his video games. Like I said, he's an animal person, so he has a lot of like different dinosaurs. He loves dinosaurs as well. He has his toys that he plays with. Um, we play soccer, and then he also is into modeling and acting. So he
Modeling
takes
and acting.
classes. Yeah, he does that also.
Where does he find the time? Hold on, let's back up. Let's back up. We're gonna get to this about the 9 to 5, the practice, all that. Being the mom, I get it. If he, because obviously he's 9, he's not driving and taking himself to modeling and acting. He's not sitting doing the
Yeah.
homework. Let's start with him first. Where does he find the time?
So right now, like, so we got signed. He got signed when he was in kindergarten, and
Okay.
he's going into the 4th grade. So he's been signed for almost 4 years. And so he got signed at an agency in Nashville. We don't live in Nashville. We are right under 3 hours away from Nashville. So we don't like do it every day. We don't even like have to go to an acting class every week necessarily.
Okay.
More recently, though, it has picked up for him. And so since about February or March, we have been going to Nashville almost every Saturday for classes and different trainings that he's been doing, photo shoots. If he books a job, we'll drive up and do the photo shoot or the commercial, whatever he books. So it's been busier since about February. We've been going back and forth, but he realizes his talents and that he starting to realize that from kindergarten up until now, I think he can see his own growth and how well he's doing. And so he's really starting to like get into it.
I don't. So I have to do that because most people, when you say, you hear it all the time. It's so big in the world today. People say break generational curses, break generational curses. And not that you had one, but it's just like I want people to understand what you're doing. It's not always about just finances. Some of those generations, you heard what Amber said. It started at kindergarten. And most people don't realize when you're starting to foster that growth and break those generational curses, whether they be emotional, financial, like whatever it is, you have to start early. You can't wait till a certain time, and you started that early. But I'm sorry, I got to ask the question because when you said that, now that y'all are going once a week, 3 hours away every Saturday, I'm sorry. What kind of car do you drive? Because my gas bill would be high. That's a
Yeah.
whole separate bill. Not regular work, just Saturday 3-hour trips every single. That's 12 hours of driving. What kind of car and how's this gas mileage working?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. It's no joke right now. Of course, like we all dealing with gas prices, but it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make for him because I see the potential. And so, like, when it's your own child, of course, like you think they're the cutest, you think they're the most talented. Like, we see the talents in our own kids. So I know he's talented, but when I see the acting coach and his agent and everybody else talking about how well he's doing, and they're investing into him as well, then I know, like, okay, like we're really working with something here. Like, he's really talented at this. And so, like I said, I'm his biggest cheerleader. It's my job to coach him along the way and support him. So we're gonna make it happen.
Hold on, you just dropped something that I'm not letting go over nobody's head. I want you to hear what she just told you. When you're achieving and going after your greatness, your success, your goals and dreams, what are you willing to sacrifice? Matter of fact, let's look at it this way. If you say you're a person, I tell people all the time, show me your network, I'll show you your net worth. That's the same as your circle, your support system. What are you willing to sacrifice for the people that are part of your support system? And what are the people that are in your support system willing to sacrifice in order for you to do what you need to do? Because best believe, for Amber to sacrifice her time, her money, her energy behind her child, which she is the biggest cheerleader, for her to even go do the things that she's doing in life, her own son is sacrificing something as well. So what are you willing to sacrifice for your support system? And what is your support system willing to sacrifice for you? Because that's the only way you're going to help achieve your greatness. Man, so with that being said, because now we got to transition, I got to understand this. With that sacrifice and everything that he has going on, what does his, because I want people to get this. What does he look like, or what does he say? What does it comes off for him? The sacrifice that he has to make when mom has to go do what she has to do. What is his sacrifice like?
So he tells me all the time, like, you're always busy on your computer doing stuff for your business. And I know that he's starting to understand like that it's really like a big deal to own your own business. We talk about those things. Um, and I would say though the biggest sacrifice that he has probably had to make is he was so young he may not even remember. But so when he was 10 months old, I went back to grad school. I started working on my second master's at that time. I got my first master's before he was born, started my second master's when he was 10 months old. And so about halfway through the program, maybe a little more than halfway through the program, I got a job in my field finally. So he, at that time, by the time I had gotten that job, I think he was 2.5, almost 3. Um, so I was still in graduate school, working a job in my field, having to work sometimes 50 hours a week with a 2-year-old. So, first of all, like, just thank God that I was able to do it. But I really do have an amazing, amazing supportive family. And if it were not for them, like, I wouldn't have been able to do that. They helped with him, whether it was getting him back and forth to school, daycare, whatever at that time. Whatever I needed, like, they were there to help me. But I can remember times when because I was trying to get him back and forth to school, study, working 50 hours a week, all these things, plus spend time with him because he was only 2 years old. I can remember it taking me sometimes a couple of days to get a full 8 hours of sleep.
Wow.
So it was a lot. So he has had to make sacrifices just maybe by me not being as present as I wanted to be. But now that like grad school is behind me and I have my own practice, even though it sounds like I'm busy, which I am sometimes, I still feel like I have more time with him now that I'm more established in my career and not having to do school and work.
So now that you said it that way, because I want to know just like everybody else does. Because you just said now that you have the practice and you have this more time, can you tell us, because a lot of us need to understand and need this help, how do you maintain balance, personal life, professional life? How do you maintain that balance? Because that's a tricky one to juggle.
Yeah. Well, family is always gonna come first to me. So like I'm fortunate that now I do have a 9 to 5 that is really like flexible. So like me needing off time is really not an issue. However, in the past, I didn't always work for companies that were like that. So either they were just gonna let me get my PTO or I was gonna call in sick. Like I was gonna take the time that I needed for my family, for my son. I can remember calling in sick once before just so I didn't miss a school program when he was like 4 or 5 years old. Like I was going to be there for him because he is the number one priority. So that's to me is like really no other thing. Like that's how it's gonna be. So to me, like that's how I juggle like work and family is just knowing like family is gonna come first. Um, However, currently with my 9 to 5 and my practice, both are working from home right now. So my practice is 100% telehealth. So I see my clients like over the computer, like kind of how we're talking right now. So I'm not meeting them face to face in an office. And so because my 9 to 5 and my practice are both working from home, I'm at home with him all the time, especially like during summer months. Like right now, where even though I'm working, like I'm at home. So in between sessions, we might be able to do something, or maybe I can end my day early instead of working at 5 o'clock. Maybe I'll end it at like 1 or 2 o'clock, and then we might go to the park. So like just whatever I need to do, like I still find time to like watch a movie with him. We play video games. We go out to eat. Like we still find time to spend time together.
So I want everybody to catch everything that Amber just said with the big emphasis on time. You've heard it before. I've said it before. You've witnessed it before. Nobody on their deathbed ever says, I wish I had the bigger house, the nicer car. I would have took all these extra trips and spent money on this or that. They always say, I wish I had more time. And remember, she already told you about balance, and she also told you about sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? And I'm telling you right now, if you don't know this, I'm gonna say it to you. If something, God forbid, happened to you right now today, that job is gonna replace you.
Mhm.
Your family can't replace you. So you gotta learn and balance, because it's still a balance. You gotta know when that time is needed for your family. Now, I love how you put that, because then you transition and you said the 9 to 5, and you said you open your own practice. Now, that's a whole different balance I got to ask you about, because people here, especially in today's society, we hear it so much. Go to your 9 to 5, and then after that, put your energy into chasing your passion, your dreams. And some people are like, so when do I sleep? When do I eat? When do I do this? Can you tell us how? Because I know you say you're at work, and I'm in my mind when you say that, I'm picturing 2 different laptops up, you going side to side. How do you maintain balance between a 9 to 5 career and building your own career path over here to leave a legacy? How do you balance that?
Um, I'm kind of the type of person where I do stress about things. I don't want to make it seem like I don't, but I also have like a really like laid back side to me. So I know that in the end things will work out the way that they're meant to be. So I try not to like stress it too much. I try to remind myself of those things, but it's hard sometimes. So with that being said, I just don't let my 9 to 5 overwhelm me too much because I know that that's like a temporary thing. And so, again, I'm also fortunate to have a 9 to 5 that is pretty flexible. Like, as long as I get my work done, like I don't like physically have to clock in, clock out. I don't physically have to be logged into a computer all day. I get my stuff done, so I'm good. So it don't matter if like I finish at noon or if it takes me my whole shift. Like if I get it done, I'm good. So with that being said, like if I get up and get all my stuff done by 11 a.m. or noon, then I still have the rest of the day to focus on my practice. Or maybe get up and do some sessions for my practice in the morning and then do my 9 to 5 in the afternoon. Each day is different for me. It just depends on what I have to do for each one. But as long as I get it done, then it's not real. I'm not being micromanaged. So it makes it easier to invest into my practice while also doing my 9 to 5. And I know everybody doesn't have that. Some people have 9 to 5s that are really strict. They can't take PTO. They're being micromanaged. I'm fortunate not to be in that type of position. So I can kind of do my own thing while still getting my stuff done for my 9 to 5.
I, I like how you said that, because I don't want nobody to miss, because it hit me and it's like, wow, you said that one key word about not just stress, but maintaining that stress level. It's like sort of like maintaining that energy. Like you got the 9 to 5, but don't let it deplete you of your energy so that you're empty by the time it's time to go, not just even home, but even to focus on your passion and dreams. And I never thought about it that way, but because I thought like everybody else, I was just as guilty. Like you go to work and you just pour it all out and you're going hardcore, and then you're empty by the time you're done. And it made me think about that situation. Like you go out in the public, it be complete strangers, people you don't know, that's not even family. And when you see them, you're like, hey, how's it going? And how's your day? And then by the time you see your family, you're like, hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you had a
Yeah,
good day. And you're just empty. And I
right.
like how you said basically maintaining that energy level, so that, not saying don't go to work and don't do your job, but don't give so much, because only you as an individual know how much to give to still have some left in the tank, so that you're not, once again, giving it to a company that will replace you if something happened to you right now today. But you also said maintain your stress level. You might be that laid back person. All of us aren't. So I have to ask, maintaining your stress level, what does the person that helps other people do, help them with their mental and maintaining that? Who helps Amber? How does Amber maintain that? Who's your mental person? Like, how do you maintain your mental health? Do you have a mental health coach or a counselor or somebody? What do you do? So we don't,
Yeah,
everybody doesn't have a you sitting right there on speed dial yet. Yet. They're going to be calling you
yeah,
soon.
yeah. So I keep saying like I really do need to find a therapist because lately I have been like feeling anxious just about different things. But just what I do to calm myself on a day to day though, family is like big for me. Like I am very, very family oriented. So My mom and my brother are two people that I talk to like every day. I talk to them every day. I think I go to my mom's house every day. I was just at her house before I started this. So, like, I see her every day. I talk to her and my brother every day. They help me kind of like sort out some of my thoughts and process things when sometimes I'm like maybe not going to make the best decision. They kind of help me rationalize some things. And also being around my son lifts my spirits. Just cuddling in bed with him and watching something on Netflix is like the most calming thing for me.
I like that. So basically, because I heard you, I know you said you might need to find a therapist. Hey, that's between y'all, but I want everybody to catch what she said. You have to have that person that you can have to talk to as an outlet. And you have to have those different situations where you can kind of turn the brain off and recharge. Like she said, sitting there, cuddling with her son, everything. You have to have these different things. And I want you, I'm asking these questions that she's basically giving y'all the answers to of how she's maintaining the balance and going through life, how she has the 9 to 5, how she pushes her son to achieve his greatness, how she finds the balance between him and her, how she finds the balance between the 9 to 5 and her practice. I want y'all to understand it keeps coming back to the same thing, even the stress levels. You have to find the time for yourself. You have to figure out how to have your own outlets. That's the only way this thing works. Whenever you're living in your purpose, chasing your dreams, your goals, you have to maintain balance. You have to listen to yourself as well, because you know your stress level better than anybody. And you have to have outlets, whether that's family members, your network, your social circle, whatever it is, you have to have an outlet. Now, before we go, because I can't leave this topic just right, because I don't even want you to think I forgot about this. Miss, I'm going to be an anesthesiologist at 11. When you hit college, because we hear it all the time. When you say that, it pops in my mind the TV show Girlfriends, where they had the one friend, she just kept changing her degrees throughout college.
Yep.
She looked up, she's in her 30s, and she's like, I changed it again. What was that deciding factor? What was that push, or what happened in life that says, I know what an anesthesiologist makes, I know what that looks like, but I need to transition and go over here and help people this way, mental health, all that. How did that come about?
Sometimes, honestly, I still don't know the answer to that question. I think, to be honest with you, to be completely transparent, when I went to college, like I said, I took electives and found that I liked psychology, so I had decided to major in that. But I still wanted to like at least minor in biology because I loved it so much. I love biology. But as I got into some of the upper biology courses and then I took chemistry, it was tough. And I ended up having to drop chemistry so it wouldn't lower my GPA. And I think a lot of it was just self-doubt, like, dang, am I even smart enough to go to med school? And so I was like, well, I really do love psychology. Like I talked about psychology to my mom, like even not doing homework, I would just talk to her about stuff that I was learning. And so that let me know, like maybe I need to focus on this. So that's what I did, and I stuck with it.
So so that's what it was. Like you had that moment, and I want everybody to understand what Amber is saying. From the beginning, she talked about it. Speak up, see it, say something, all that stuff. She's always, since middle school, wanted to help people. She's told us this in so many ways. It's just the avenue of how she was going to do it. See, when she saw anesthesiologist, she knew that was helping people, and that's what was driving her. But on the other hand, that was somebody else's dream, and she saw it, and she kind of linked to it. And I want you to understand that, because today in the social media world, we see things that align kind of with what we want to do or like to do, and we tend to attach ourselves to that. And you see it happen so much. And it's not saying that that's not the right thing. For example, I'm going to give examples. You see now somebody be like, I want to be a social media influencer. I want to take pictures. I want to make reels. I want to make videos, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, everything. That's not saying you can't be an influencer. But just what if you're like Amber's 9-year-old son and you should be in commercials making movies? You're still getting the same outcome, just in a different lane. And she was in there. I want to be an anesthesiologist, but think about an anesthesiologist. I want y'all to break this down. They're helping people. They're getting them prepped for a moment that's most likely a scary moment in most people's life. Like think about like, for example, surgery. You're gonna be like, where's the anesthesiologist? You're like, you gotta be, I'll put me out. I don't want to know what's gonna happen. I need Amber. Come over here and give me the drugs. So she knew she wanted to help others. But when she self-reflected, talking to her mom, she realized what her true passion is. She wanted to talk, help people break down stuff, figure things out. So it led her to wanted to be the psychologist part. And then it dove a little deeper. How did you transition after you was going through school and you graduated from that? How did we get into, I need to open my own business. I need to start something. How did you transition from that to that? Matter of fact, let's go back. Hold on before I jump that. Let's see if it compares. What is your actual 9 to 5?
So my 9 to 5, I work for a company that's contracted with the state. So I'm not employed through the state, but the company has a state contract to help the individuals that are receiving like SNAP benefits, like basically like the welfare benefits, because they only have a certain amount of time on those benefits. And then once the time runs out, like the state kicks them off and they can't get any more assistance. And so with this job, a lot of the reason why, not in every case, but we get a lot of referrals where a lot of the reason why they are on state assistance is because they're dealing with mental health issues.
Yep.
And so when it's a mental health issue, we get the referrals to provide the counseling and therapy services to them to try to get them in a better place so that they can eventually come off of the benefits, because they're going to eventually get kicked off of it anyway. And at that point, they don't have any income. They're still dealing with mental health and they're just kind of stuck. So if we can get them stabilized before their time runs out, then whenever it is time for them to come off benefits, then hopefully they'll be, on track to support themselves financially.
Wow. Did everybody catch that? I want to know, did y'all catch that? So Amber works for a company that helps, because I want everybody to understand everything has layers to it. When you start peeling back the onion, you start to realize something. And she just said it. Some of those people that she's helping already have mental health issues. Remember, we talked about education earlier, and I want people to understand you're supposed to learn and grow and develop every single day. The mental health issues that Amber sees people going through on her day-to-day job also is something, just more knowledge she can put in her toolkit that helped along the lines with her opening her own practice. So can you tell us, how do you transition from not just helping people, because somebody wants to know, how do you transition and also start a practice? What does it even take to start a practice?
It takes a lot. I knew so once I decided to major in psychology in college, I knew that I wanted to do private practice simply because, like, I'm not the type of person that enjoys working for other people. Like I said, family is important to me. And if I need to take off for something, I don't want somebody saying, no, I'm not going to approve your PTO. Or I don't like the whole concept of you have to be here for 40 hours a week. If I only want to work 20 hours a week, then that's what I want to do. So I always knew like working for other people just I didn't mesh well with that. Um, I've had a lot of experience in mental health. I have worked in correctional facilities as a substance abuse counselor. I have worked in the school setting. I've done outpatient. I have done crisis counseling for individuals that are like suicidal, homicidal. Um, I have worked for a long stretch of time, specifically with children that had been victims of like physical or sexual abuse. So I've seen like a lot of different things. Um, so I knew though that like I needed to work for myself, because some of those jobs that I had, although they were great experiences and it helped me to build my resume and get like a diverse work experience, none of those companies were anywhere that I could see myself staying for like 10 years, not even 5 years, like none of those. I didn't like any of those. I'm grateful for the experience, but I just did not like any of those positions. So I knew like, yeah, I need to go ahead and do my own thing. So as far as like what it takes, of course, you got to get your bachelor's. You have to get a master's in mental health counseling. Once you get your master's, so I can only speak for Tennessee because that's where I'm located. Although most states are somewhat similar, they just require a different amount of hours. But the requirement for Tennessee is that you have to pass not one, not two, but 3 state exams. Um, you also have to have 3,000 clinical hours I think of those 3,000, 1,500 have to be face to face with clients. So you have to have 1,500 therapy hours. The other 1,500 hours can be administrative tasks like learning how to do like documentation, progress notes, treatment plans, those types of things. And then, like I said, the three exams that you have to pass, which are pretty intense, especially the third one is really tough. But once you do all of that, you're pretty much good to go to start the process of, creating your website, coming up with a practice name, getting your LLC, whatever you have to do to start your business.
Did y'all? I'm just calling you. Start calling you Mama Time, because everything that we talk about, she's telling you. Time. Time is your biggest asset, and she just said, think about it. I want everybody to think about it. When was the last time that you can honestly say that you devoted 3,000 hours towards your passion? When you think about it that way, because there's a saying that when you do 10,000 hours of one particular thing, you have mastered that. It takes 3,000 just to even get on the clinical side of being able to do mental health. Can you imagine when you're dealing with somebody that's got 10,000? Now, granted, I want you to think about Amber for a second. When you apply schooling, the different jobs and opportunities she's had to learn how to deal with different situations, from kids to adults to working in the contracting industry, helping people with benefits and everything. I want people to understand those hours mentally, they might not count as according to state, but those hours count towards you honing in on your craft. And I say that because somebody out there right now is not using their experience, the expertise, the things that they went through in life to hone in and say they mastered the craft. And I want you to think about it, because we've talked about family so much. Amber says she's talked to mom, talked to cuddles with her son. Let's go back and think about like grandma. When you think about grandma and be like, oh, grandma cooking, you be like, oh, wee man. But nobody really tops grandma food. Let's just be honest. Why you think grandma food tastes so good? She put time in it. She has mastered it. I don't know too many. I don't know about today. I know growing up, too many grandmas that didn't put 10,000 hours in that kitchen. What can you say that you put the time in? Like Amber says, she put 3,000 hours in. That's what it takes in Tennessee to open a practice. But she's also telling you, what are you putting time in that's honing your gift, honing your craft, honing your purpose, so that you can go out there. And as you see, we talk about it all the time. Gifts are meant to be given away. Amber is using her gift to help others. Not only just by doing it contractually, she opened her own practice. And not only opened her own practice, because you thought I was forgetting about this. We segued into this back from middle school, Miss See Something, Say Something. She used it to help in her community. And you heard in the beginning, said, I'm kind of from a sundown town. If you're using those same gifts, I know you're helping people with mental health, especially on the contract, and we appreciate that as well, focusing on your mental health, your son's mental health. How does that all transition, especially with your practice, and how you help the community, especially where you live at?
Yeah. So yeah, I did say sundown town. Like if you were out after dark, like
I'm
essentially
from
like nothing
Texas.
is probably,
We got a bunch
yeah,
of them.
like nothing is probably gonna happen, but it is like a very divisive town. I will say that. There's not just a lot of communities where you see a lot of blacks and whites together. It's a lot of racism here, whether people want to admit it or not, it is. Um, and so, but I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I kind of got distracted
Like
thinking about the
how do
racism.
you use all the information, knowledge, your background, what you do for your son, what you do for the people that do your contract and helping with the different programs, your own practice? How does all that, because you're focusing in on mental health so big and helping others,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
does that transition in helping others in the community?
I got you. I'm sorry, I get distracted sometimes.
Oh no, don't worry, I got a little bit too. That's why you keep seeing me squirrel moments. That's what I call them.
But so my target, my ideal client is working with Black people. Now that doesn't say that I won't see clients that are white, because I do have some that are white. But even on my website, it says that Black people need someone relatable to talk to. Um, even when I'm describing my practice on my website, which is called Healing and Hope Clinical Counseling. And there's one section on my site that says, "What is healing and hope? It's therapy for the culture." So I'm all about being there for my people, my culture. So that is my target, because when you're talking about mental health in the Black community, we're going to, if something happened in the community and the police are called, we're automatically going to be labeled as thugs and criminals. And white person does the same thing and they're mentally ill. Uh, so yeah, so I speak up for the community and just try to be the voice to let them know, number one, it's okay to seek help. You know, if you're not feeling well, if you got chest pains going on, you're going to go see your cardiologist. You're going to go to the doctor. So if you're not feeling well, why aren't people going to see their therapist? Physical health and mental health go hand in hand. So if you're not taking care of yourself physically, it can result in mental health issues. If you're not taking care of yourself mentally, it's going to result in physical health issues. So people really need to start going to talk to someone, even if they don't have like an actual label diagnosis. Sometimes it helps just to go talk to someone and process some things that you may not be able to talk to that family member about. Someone who's going to be completely like unbiased to your situation and can help you process some things that you're going through. So I do encourage people to go seek the help. But I also try to be active in the community, like when things arise, like when things have happened with law enforcement and different individuals in the community. Myself, my brother, and one of our mutual friends have worked together over the past couple of years. We've led like protests and things like that. So like when things happen, people usually contact one of us and ask us like, "Hey, what can I do about this situation? Like the police stopped me and like illegally searched me," or just for an example, like things like that. And we just try to give people the best advice we can. Like, we're not attorneys, disclaimer, we're not lawyers, but we do speak up when things are wrong and let people know like how to go about filing the complete like grievance or paperwork or documentation to file like complaints or whatever that they need to do. So we do all of those things to help our people too.
Man, that I commend you and the teams and people that you work with, because we need that so much in our community. But you also hit on that, because we need that, and we need, because you said physical and mental health go hand in hand. We're giving that kind of guidance of, this is who you talk to, this is how you fill out these reports, this is what we do in these type of situations. What are those things that you do when you talked about the mental health and the physical health going hand in hand? What do we need to do to provide that help to get our community to understand we need to go talk to people? We'll go talk to them when the police do us wrong, injustice. We'll find all the people we need to, lawyers, going over the police head, going to chiefs, commissioner. We know to go to all those people. What do we need to say in our community to get us to know, hey, we need to go see therapists. We need to get mental health as well as physical health. We need those things as well. We have to have that person to talk to, that outlet, because everybody doesn't have that. So what would you suggest, or how would we go about best way doing it, in your opinion, to getting our people to know we need that as well?
So most of us, like even if you haven't experienced a trauma, even if you come from a wonderful family and had a great upbringing, I feel like we all have experienced something that we can process with a therapist. Like we've all experienced some type of hardship along the way. No matter how great life has been, we've all experienced something. So I would say just be open-minded to it. There's also in most communities, there's community mental health agencies that do like a sliding scale fee, because I know people always talk about the cost of therapy,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they don't want to pay, the therapist what they're worth, which I get it if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
But so some therapists will do pro bono services. So I know a lot of therapists will have like 1 to 2 spots that they designate for pro bono, which means it's completely free. They won't charge you anything. But some therapists and community mental health agencies will have a sliding scale fee. So based on your income, based on what you can afford, it may only be $10 a session, $20 a session.
Okay.
So, sometimes we spend that just on random things at Walmart.
Exactly.
So I would encourage people to go seek those types of services as well. There's also programs out there. There's a website called Open Path. And I'm not like trying to like advertise them or anything like that, but Open Path Collective is a website that you can go to. You can find therapists in your state that offer therapy at reduced rates. I think the lowest rate through Open Path is $30.
Okay.
So there's resources out there. If the financial aspect is a concern, I know it's a concern for a lot of people, especially during these times, but there's resources available to get the therapy that you need at reduced rates or possibly free.
Oh wow. I did not know that.
Mhm.
That's positive information. I hope everybody caught that. That's positive information for everybody because that is one of our biggest factors. I'm just sorry to say, like, we don't want to spend money on things that we might need, but we'll spend it on stuff we don't need. Like
Right.
it's a mindset. That's where it all comes back with mental part. Because I know what you said about the, and I'm loving the work you do in the community, and I love they have these different programs. Have you heard? Because I hear it all the time. I don't know if it's happening in Tennessee. You hear it all the time. You have the issues, like you said, with law enforcement, this over here in the community, and then you said the mental health piece. I've heard out there, and it's been rumors, like, hey, when the officers arrive, they certain situations, instead of a police officer or with the assistance of a police officer, that a therapist or somebody should come as well, because let's be honest, they're not handled to handle situations in our community. One, they're not even from the community. Have you heard of any situations where, like, or in Tennessee where they're pushing to, like, say therapists should be on scene or be there to help in those situations to prevent some of the things that are going on in the community?
Like I hear people talking about it like nationwide, not just necessarily specific to Tennessee. Where I'm physically located, like that's not happening though. About the most that's going to happen is if a person were out somewhere and they were displaying behaviors that just seem kind of erratic or odd, the police might, big might, take them to the ER.
Might.
And then from there, once they're admitted to the ER, the doctor will call mobile crisis, which is what I used to do back in like 2015, 2016. Once that crisis counselor comes to the hospital, they would do a full assessment of that person to determine, okay, is the person safe enough to just go home with family, or do they need to be admitted to a psychiatric hospital?
Okay.
So sometimes, depending on the police that may be on duty, they might take them to the ER, but most of the time they're just going to take them to the jail.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, okay, because you just said they might take them to the jail. But, and we know we're talking about how we wish they had this help beforehand. And I don't want to let this moment pass by because it just, you segued to it. Before we even get to that moment, especially, let's start with your area, but you already gave us a website for where people can go and they can look up their particular state. But if somebody like Tennessee and everything, they wanted that assistance, that help, especially from somebody like you, how would they be able to get in touch with you before we even get to that? What is your contact information for those, not just for that situation, but maybe somebody just, because I'm pretty sure they're out there, just wants to know, hey, Amber's doing something I want to do. How can I do that? Or how I want to learn how to maintain that? Or I need her help for my mental health. Like, how would they contact you for that?
So they can go to my website, which is HH Counseling. That's with two L's, COUNSELLING, hhcounseling.net. From there, all my contact information is there. They can email me. My business phone number for my practice is 615-237-8325. So they can give me a call. I do free consultations to see if the person would be a good fit for me, if we would be a good fit for one another for like a therapeutic relationship. I also want to let people know of a couple of websites specifically for Black people, therapy for Black men and therapy for Black girls. Both of those are websites for Black men and Black women to go find a therapist of color if that's what they prefer. I know most Black people, if they're going to go to therapy, they want a Black therapist.
Yeah.
So both of those are websites that have directories with nothing but Black therapists on there. And some of those therapists on those directories also will have like the information of what their fees are. And so some of the therapists on there will also have sliding scale fees, which means they'll provide it at a reduced rate if the person can't afford the full amount.
Oh, I did not know that.
Mhm.
You're dropping all kinds of knowledge tonight. Well,
Yeah.
I don't. So since you're dropping all this knowledge, I do it to everybody. I have to know, especially in your profession, what is something that you would like to tell us, the people, that would help us not just from day to day, but help us get to achieving our goals and bringing down those barriers that are stopping us? Because you mentioned about when you said, maybe I'm not smart enough or something like that. What is something that you would tell us to help us with our mental health so that we can achieve our goals and accomplish our goals like you have?
So I would say, like, if you were like, if a person were interested in therapy, or even if they couldn't go to therapy, but like, if you were in therapy though, like the real work of therapy happens like outside of the session.
Uh,
So like you could talk to your therapist for an hour every week, but you have to be consistent with the things and the tools that they're giving you in your day to day. And so a lot of when it comes to mental health and us wanting to improve on certain things or achieve certain goals or get out of our own head, it just takes a lot of like reframing those negative thoughts, which takes like a lot of just mental awareness of what you're thinking about so that you don't continue that cycle of thinking negatively. So you really have to just be aware and mindful of how you're thinking and what you're thinking about. Also, though, I always encourage people to take care of themselves. Like physical activity is more important than people realize with mental health. When you can get exercise in, which I'm guilty of not exercising myself, but when you can get exercise in, like it releases the certain neurotransmitters that we need to keep our brains in balance to help regulate our mood. Also, I always encourage people to try to eat as healthy as they can. One thing I think a lot of people don't know is that there is actually a nerve at the base of our brain stem. And the ending of that nerve is the gut. So one reason we always hear about gut health, healthy gut, healthy diet, is because the brain and the stomach are literally connected. And when we eat healthy, the stomach releases the amount of a chemical called serotonin that we need. Serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters that helps to regulate our mood. So, like if a person suffers from depression and anxiety and they get placed on a medication, the medication that they're taking is regulating serotonin.
wow.
So, one thing that we can do on our own to regulate serotonin is to eat a well balanced, healthy diet, because then the stomach will release the serotonin levels that we need back to the brain. So healthy diet is important because the brain and the stomach are literally connected.
I, I don't know if y'all caught that, but Amber just told us one of those first steps with that mental health is we need to eat better. I'm just as guilty as Amber said of not working out as much. I need to. I don't even know how Amber gonna find time to work out. I don't even know how she get all this done in 24 hours within the day, including sleep. But man, I'm gonna have to take that into account. Dude. That makes so much sense. Like let's start with the beginning. Let's start with our mental health by, as Amber said, eating better. Man, I needed that at the end because you know us, we get hungry around here, and I just rush and just eat whatever. But
Yeah,
man, I'm just dissecting all the knowledge that you gave us tonight because you gave us a lot. And for one, I'm gonna have to figure out how to bring you back on because we got some more questions, but I ain't gonna hold you up. I know it's been a long day. I don't even know how. No, I'm gonna be one of those people you need to go to sleep. So I'm not gonna hold none of that up. I gotta say on behalf of everybody that's tuned in, I appreciate everybody tuning in, but on behalf of everybody, I must say thank you for taking the time to come on the show and spread us with that knowledge and help us start to transform our mental health. We thank you so much.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, don't go nowhere because I want to talk to you right after the show. So stick with me. Don't
Okay.
run off. Don't run
Okay.
off. I just want to talk to you right quick. But again, thank you, and you be blessed. And Miss Amber, I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thank you.
Man, I don't know if y'all got all that. It doesn't matter. Go watch it if you tuned in late. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. I will make sure I get all that information. The links will be dropped into the YouTube channel. If you haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, go to YouTube Strategic Dope. That's STRATEGIC Strategic Dope DOPE. Man, because our whole mission around here is help you develop on purpose every day. Miss Amber has dropped us with some knowledge, and I want y'all to continue to get this knowledge, continue to use it, because man, I learned so much tonight. I didn't even know some of these programs existed, and I want to pass this information on, not just to help you, but to help the others, the ones that are going to come behind you, because that's what it's all about. You've heard Miss Emma. She's already invested in her child. What are you doing to invest in those that are going to be coming up in the future behind you? Who are you leaving a legacy to? What are you doing to invest in their mental health? Man, thank you for dropping that knowledge on us, Miss Emma. We really, really appreciate you. And again, I thank everybody for tuning in. It was great to have you. I can't wait to see who our next guest is next week, because once again, as always, we're going to shock you. We're going to bring somebody here to help you get further along in the chasing your goals, your dreams, and your purpose. But until next week, I want you all to continue to live in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next week.
I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchanged something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you and your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.